everybody. In our last lesson, we talked about topic sentences and just a little bit about the fact that you're going to need to transition from topic sentence to topic sentence in a paper. So in this lesson, we're going to delve deeper into how to transition in an effective and sophisticated way. In order to get a sense of how important good transitions are, think about watching stand-up comedy. Sometimes what makes the difference between a really good comedian and one who was lackluster or fell kind of flat is whether or not they were able to transition well. If you think about it, a stand-up comedy show should feel like the comedian is just having a chat, is just kind of telling a story. Comedians are storytellers. And it should feel like one idea flows naturally into the other, even though everything that they're saying has been scripted. So it shouldn't feel like the comedian is telling jokes. And when there are no good transitions from one subtopic to the next of the comedy show, it is going to feel like here's a joke, here's another joke, here's joke number 3. And then that kind of ruins the effect. So you've got to have those fluid transitions connecting everything. And that's the same type of thing that you want to do in your paper without making it funny. Now, you may recall from our last lesson that we were working with a thesis statement on the topic of childhood obesity. Let's take a look at that again. The thesis statement is, the U.S. government should intervene to combat childhood obesity by imposing taxes on unhealthy food items, requiring fast food chains to print the ingredients and nutritional data for their food items on the packaging, regulating the quality of public school lunches, and mandating nutrition education in public schools. So I've got 4 subtopics already listed within the thesis, and that's what my topic sentences should focus on. And you'll remember that for the topic sentences we saw, we were already kind of making an attempt to transition by saying things such as another measure or furthermore or lastly. But when you are writing at the college level, you want to refine your transitions a bit more than this. So it's not enough to simply say next. Also, that makes it sound like bullet points. You want to have a smoother flow from paragraph to paragraph, which means that you have to show your reader within your topic sentences how the ideas connect between the previous paragraph and the new paragraph. And that's going to require a little bit more thinking, a little bit more work. Now let's take a look at some revised topic sentences for this thesis that have smoother, more sophisticated transitions. Now, the first topic sentence doesn't actually need to transition yet because it's not transitioning from any other body paragraph. It's the first body paragraph and the first topic sentence. So this one could remain just a topic sentence. The most immediate measure the U.S. government can take to help reduce obesity rates is to impose taxes on unhealthy food items. So I'm simply introducing the idea of imposing taxes on unhealthy food items, and that's what my entire paragraph will focus on. Second one does need to transition in addition to introducing the new subtopic. So let's take a look. Requiring fast food chains to print the ingredients and nutritional data for their food items on the packaging would also help to make consumers more conscious of their food choices. So the part that is not underlined is the topic sentence part. It's the part that is showing what the new subtopic is going to be, because I'm going to talk in this paragraph about requiring fast food chains to print the ingredients and nutritional data. But the underlined part serves as a transition. This would also help to make consumers more conscious of their food choices. So I'm showing that there is a connection between the previous paragraph and the new paragraph, because both of them are measures that try to make consumers more conscious of their food choices. So that's kind of the connecting line between the two. Now let's look at the next one. While targeting consumers can be effective, the most profound impact that the federal government can have is in the schools. Therefore, the government should regulate the quality of public school meals. Now in this case, the new subtopic is that the government should regulate the quality of public school meals, and I'm going to talk about public school food for the entire paragraph. But the underlined part, I actually started the sentence with the transition this time. While targeting consumers can be effective, that's what I was doing in the last 2 paragraphs. But now I'm showing that I'm moving on to a different approach. The first 2 were about targeting consumers, and now I'm going to say that actually the most profound impact would be directly in the schools. So in the first case, Second sentence, I was making a transition that showed a similarity between the two subtopics. Now I'm making a transition that shows a contrast. Either way is fine, it just depends on where you're going with your paper. And then the final sentence here, by mandating nutrition education in public schools, the US government would ensure that more students carry these healthy eating patterns into adulthood. So in this case, my new subtopic is the idea of mandating nutrition education in public schools. But I am also making a connection between the previous paragraph and the new one by saying the US government would ensure that more students carry these healthy eating patterns into adulthood. What healthy eating patterns? The ones that I talked about in the previous paragraph, because the previous paragraph was about improving school food. So we're creating kind of healthy eating patterns for the children. And this new paragraph about mandating nutrition education would help these kids to continue those healthy eating patterns when they leave school and become adults. So as you can see, just by listening to me talk through these connections, it's much more complex than simply saying also, next, furthermore. And this takes time. Even though they're just a few sentences, it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of thinking through what the real connections are. And it requires that you actually had some forethought about what order you were going to put your paragraphs in, because you already had in mind how one idea was going to connect with the next. So transition sentences, not funny, sorry, but they are important, so good luck with them.